Thank you for coming. I apologize for the delay in the start. In case everyone doesn't know, pizza, water, and please make sure you sign in before you go if you didn't before you got here. And also know that we are recording our minutes now, and if you haven't done so, if you want a view of the minutes after the fact, they'll be on our website under meeting minutes on a YouTube channel. First on the agenda, after calling to order, is the approval of the last agenda's minutes, which was a special event, so it's not applicable. So move down to old business. For those of you who were here last time, there was much talk about, and we had presentations from USG RSO leaders and I think even one USG senator about some allegations against their student government. At the end of those presentations and upon the floor, we as a body unanimously voted that if they came back and gave us a viable amount of signatures, that we would go forward and create a investigatory committee to vet those or vet all said complaints, and then give a recommendation to the Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs, and so on and so forth. I don't want that to take up all of our time, and we do have a representative here from USG or from the group from last meeting. And how many do we have total?
522.
Yeah. So I just want to inform you guys. So we had we asked between 300 and 400, I believe, at least. We got 500 and 300 and 400. We got 522, and those signatures have been vetted for duplications that they're actually enrolled students. And so, in short, we will be. I will be creating through the Constitution, the President has the power to create an ad hoc committee, so we can create that, given our vote from the last meeting, given the fact that we have the requisite signatures we asked about. And Clay, awesome, and Diane, sorry, I don't know, I have such a hard time remembering your name. I shouldn't, so I apologize. Will be on that committee from our executive council. They have little to no previous contact with USG. Clay has been nice enough to chair the investigatory committee. It is our hope that the Vice Chancellor and also maybe Tina Bennett, who's the current USG basically administrative liaison, will be a part of that committee as well, so that we have authority from the very beginning to take action as they see it. And that's really all there is to it. We'll try to make it go through it as quick as possible. And at the end of the investigation, we'll provide a resolution with the findings and present it before the body with the recommendations given, and ask that everyone vote to that resolution into place after all that's said and done. You have any questions about that? I just want to make it clear that the goal is to get through this, like I said, as quickly and painlessly as possible. We'd like to, obviously to be on the same page to a place where we can say with confidence that USG is being, the students of undergraduate students feel like they're being represented adequately, and thus when acting with them, we're speaking with the whole voice of the student body. And because there's a lot of stuff that we do need to tackle this year, and if we don't have that, it's just going to make it that much harder and more convoluted. All right. So seeing there's no questions, we move on to new business, which don't have any unless there's any surprises, and go straight into officer and committee reports, starting with Jonathan Flowers.
All right, so I have a fairly long report from grad council. So grad council met October the 6th, and that was a fun meeting. So basically we have no state budget, and this is from Provost Ford, who sat in for Chancellor Caldwell. So we have no state budget, and the best we can do is continue the course that we were following in the spring and the summer, which is to conserve cash to cover payroll until we have a stopgap of a substantial nature. Aside from that, they are proceeding ahead with a planned to revamp the towers and/or generate new housing. This is being paid for through auxiliary funding, bond payments, and housing receipts. So we can't use that for any other purpose. Trust me, it was asked. It will take about 12 years to replace all of that housing. So they're going to build the new buildings to hold the capacity of the old building, tear down another building, build a new building, tear down another building. Hopefully none of us will be here to see that. So one of the things that the provost and apparently the chancellor, and if you paid attention or you listened to the president's State of the System address, is that they're focusing on how do we reshape the university so that they take what is best and brightest about the university and best for the 21st century and center that in university operations. The program prioritization committee will serve to guide this development, which is problematic considering the failure of that committee to consider much of the commentary provided by not only graduate students but faculty. One of the concerns of Provost Ford and the upper administration is the way in which the institution's reputation among other institutions has fallen. They cite this as a budget concern, but faculty contest this position, stating the social climate on campus also has something to do with the decline of our reputation. I will spare you the long conversation she had about undergraduate enrollment and retention. Suffice it to say, retention for freshmen is down to 64.5%, and retention for upperclassmen has gone up to 75.4%, although these numbers are kind of interesting considering upperclassmen often cannot transfer from the university because they still have credits to fulfill for their degrees, which cannot be fulfilled at other institutions. So that number is possibly meaningless. In terms of what Dean Lee had to say, recruitment and enrollment for graduate students, unsurprisingly, is down. Our assistantships are down from 1,700 last semester to 1,500. Our enrollment stands at 3,183 as of the 10th day, so we lost at least 400 graduate students, which is a 14% decline. He has detailed information on a program-by-program basis, and given the chancellor's stated target of increasing graduate student enrollment by 10%, we need to recruit at least 200 graduate students. In my conversation with Dean Lee subsequent to this meeting, he finds that hilarious and does not understand how Chancellor Caldwell got to the idea that we can get a 10% increase in graduate student enrollment given current reductions in faculty, current failure to support the graduate school in general, and current reductions in graduate assistantship offerings. He views this as an impossible goal and will do his best to meet it.
Question.
Yes.
The decline in graduate student enrollment, was that from last fall or spring?
Fall.
Okay.
Fall to fall. When they're giving decline numbers, it's always a semester to semester comparison. So.
It is based on the fact that all the assistantships have gone down, is it not? Dean Lee did not provide an explanation for the decline in graduate student population, but I can provide an explanation from the bazillion meetings that I had to sit in. Given the reduction of graduate assistantships and the loss of specialized faculty in many disciplines, graduate students have come to see SIU as not a viable institution to pursue a graduate degree, particularly if they are unsure that they will have faculty here who will enable them to meet the requirements necessary for their degree completion. Moreover, reductions in faculty at the graduate level means that some programs on this campus cannot meet the required number of faculty to sit on a dissertation committee. So literally, people would enroll and be unable to do a thesis or dissertation because they don't have the people to sit on the committee. And so all of this has tanked our graduate student enrollment, and Dean Lee anticipates an even sharper drop come spring semester. Other questions? So that's Dean Lee's doom and gloom. Dean Komaraju, and I quote, says that from the Dean's Council, they are realizing on a daily basis that we have entered a new world. And this new world includes reduced GA money and an increased attention to students who have been here for an extended period of time, which is to say that they are going to give priority to teaching support over other kinds of GA ships, and they are going to put more emphasis on their fee-generating programs and providing more more support to departments that are looking into generating accelerated programs. All of this is part of a increased drive to generate more efficiencies. So what this amounts to is they're going to be looking at not funding graduate students who have been here for extended periods of time in favor of attempting to fund incoming graduate students and trying to focus more on graduate programs that have large amounts of fee generation, e.g. students who are not on contract but still attend, and those programs that have indicated a willingness to generate accelerated programs, the 2-in-1 programs, things like that. All of these are horrible ideas.
Sorry. Is it at all possible for us to come to the meetings that you're going to also kind of similar to how the USGs have come to our meetings?
You can go to the graduate council meetings and sit there, but unless one of us recognizes you, can't speak. The non-academic program prioritization committees, unless I delegate you as my proxy, you can't go to those because those involve confidential discussions of employment matters, things like that.
But what you can do at the very least is if all the concerns that you have, what's amazing to have when we go to these meetings is bullet points or letters, or you know what I mean. So if you want to write from what you hear, a reaction from John's comments, write something out and then give it to him, so that way he can, these are what the students are saying, and it makes it all that more powerful.
So to continue on with, did you have anything else or?
No, sorry, I might later, but I'll try to.
That's fine. To continue on with what Dean Komaraju was saying, in part of these looking to increase efficiencies, she's looking at ways that programs can share faculty for dissertation and theses committees, and she's also recommending that current students reach out to their seniors for donations to generate a network of support for things like graduate student travel.
What? Like,
This is literally what she said. She wants current graduate students to reach out to those of or to our alumni so that they can donate to our programs to fund things like graduate student travel. This was a suggestion that Dean Lee made last semester in his graduate recruitment and retention committee, but every faculty member on that committee said this is a terrible idea, it will never work, and he shelved it. Dean Komaraju apparently has not gotten that memo. The Faculty Senate actually had a report. They sent out a evaluation from the Board of Trustees about the President and the Chancellor, and apparently I got it for some reason, but we're not supposed to comment on that because we're not faculty. But if you want to look at what the questions they're asking, I can send it around. The last thing that I have concerns our resolution for the support of GPSC inclusion in diversity and inclusivity policy. As I learned, it is not traditional for resolutions to emerge from the floor of graduate council, so this was a first for graduate council. Normally they get together, decide what resolutions they're going to do, and then put them forwards as a kind of de facto motion. This is the first time that this was not discussed in a committee but actually emerged from the floor. So apparently they were caught off guard. But upon the second reading, there was significant discussion about removing the language of worsening from our resolution, which essentially asked for graduate council support for the inclusion of GPSC in diversity and inclusivity policymaking due to the need for GPSC to be proactive to the steadily worsening climate, and this is the language of the resolution, steadily worsening climate of racism and intolerance. The faculty did not agree that the climate of racism and intolerance has been steadily worsening, and therefore moved to strike that language from the resolution. Naturally, I protested this and agreed to the removal of the language under protest because having the support of the Graduate Council, which is essentially the collected body of graduate faculty, for a resolution that says include graduate students in policymaking decisions is more important than me fighting it out with them over their perception of the climate of racism.
So what was their fact-finding moment to prove that?
There was no fact-finding moment. It was the perception of a given faculty member that they did not believe the climate was worsening. It led to a whole bunch of other questions like, does this position represent the feeling of the general body of the graduate students, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? Basically, all of those things. I'm not going to discuss that. The important thing is the resolution passed with nobody against, 24-0 against, contingent on the striking of that language from the resolution. I'm okay with, again, I'm okay with striking the language from the resolution under protest because having the full support of the assembled graduate faculty for our inclusion in not only diversity and inclusivity policymaking, but all policymaking decisions that affect graduate student life is more important than me fighting it out with faculty over perceptions of racism. That's.
If you want more, you can ask. There's a lot more to that. If you want to ask us
yeah,
later.
it's not fun. That is generally all I have for the graduate council report. Program review. Oh, this is fun. So the program review will come up for a vote. I think at the next graduate council meeting, graduate council will either vote in favor of the program prioritization committee or the program prioritization metrics as designed by the committee. Once graduate council votes to accept it, graduate council will then be in full support of it, as our body has generally reported to me. We don't like this thing because they don't listen to us when we said this is bad. To that end, I have collected all of the commentary on the report that I've received, and I am compiling that into an actual document that I probably will have done by Wednesday, so that I can give it to the provost at Grad Council Executive on Thursday, and then she can look upset at me. But the reason I bring this up is because we have 5 representatives on Graduate Council, which is 5 votes out of 20, and we can literally vote no on the program prioritization metrics. I remind you that these metrics are intended to be used as the guidelines for the restructuring of the university in some senses, and to provide a kind of a pathway forwards as the university moves through what we hope will be a temporary budget crisis. I would also like to state that some departments, faculty have not actually had their complaints heard by the program prioritization committee, which was a point that was brought up in graduate council. So it is unclear as to whether or not this thing generated by the committee that I sat on represents the collective will of not only the faculty but the graduate students. I know it doesn't represent your will because you guys have told me, no, this is not a good thing. But it becomes questionable whether or not it represents the collective will of the faculty. The grad council vote will only offer support from graduate council in favor of the metrics generated. Faculty are welcome to generate minority reports. As I said, I will be generating a minority report to be given to the provost, and there is that. Questions about that?
John, what's the so you said we have 5 votes. What's the likelihood of getting another 6 to torpedo the metrics?
I honestly don't know. some members of graduate council are there because they want to be. Others have been press ganged, so I honestly don't know. I know a couple of the representatives from the departments who felt that their commentary was not adequately attended to will likely vote no, but I don't think it's anywhere near 6 additional votes.
Is it better to have what they have proposed or nothing at all and let the administration go unguided?
So, and I'm really going to kick myself for saying this, it's better to have what we've got now than let the administration do it, because the administration will do it without any input from anyone in any department, and do so on the basis of what they consider to be valuable to the mission of the institution. At the very least, as like bad as these metrics are, they do allow for explanations and interpretations, and they give the provost a methodology whereby she can go to the IBHE and say, hey, look, these are the things that we're doing. You can stop trying to close our departments. So it's better than nothing, but it's really bad.
I'll put it at that point later. I'll tell you why.
And the last thing that I have is the RSO approval process. We're still working on it.
I mean, it's up. It's just not into the Constitution, right?
Yeah, it's up. It's just not written into the Constitution.
It's on our website.
So,
All right. Anything else?
I have nothing else. No.
All right. Thank you, John. Willie?
All right, the THAB met before this meeting, and we considered 3 event funding requests. The first was from the Organization for Women, Gender, and Sexuality Studies in support of their 5th annual WGSS conference. In this conference, they invite graduate students to submit pieces of work, and apparently they have a number of submissions, but the top 3 get an award, $200 award. We have recommended that we recommend to the council that event received $650 last year. We gave $700. For the graduate writers forum, this is in support of the 9th annual Little Grassy Literary Festival. This is something that GPSC has supported for a very long time. Last year, we provided $2,000. This year, they requested $2,600 in light of our budget constraints, but also wanting to continue to support this worthwhile effort. We're recommending $1,500 to support the honorarium of the main speaker that they're inviting to come.
What's the number on the first one? The recommendation?
$650. Last but not least, the Student Communication Organization came to us on behalf of Kaleidoscope, which is a graduate journal. Last year, we supported this journal in an emergency situation because they had lost their funding from the university. We did so last year from our charitable giving account. This year, again, because of budget constraints, that does not exist anymore. So we are still recommending supporting this. This is a huge journal that has a national reputation and allows our graduate students the ability to get published. And in that context, we see this as an event. We're recommending $800 in support of Kaleidoscope. Any questions? Can I get a motion to support the Organization for Women, Gender, and Sexuality Studies at $650, the Graduate Writers Forum at $1,500, and the Student Communication Organization at $800?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor, please vote. Show of hands. All those opposed?
No.
Awesome.
Seeing none opposed, they all pass. And if anyone's wondering how much money we have in our event funding or the travel funding,
I can do that now. So right now, in event funding, we have $6,263. That's not including those that have just been approved. In travel funding, we have $12,600 left.
The reduction figures of $3,313.
Correct.
Well, I'll say too is on our website, if you go to the FAB thing, you can actually see a running total of event funding and the travel funding. After a couple days after the meeting, it'll show like the current number of what's left. If anyone's wondering.
What's next for me?
Town hall.
Oh, was that last Tuesday? No, 2 Tuesdays ago. We had a town hall featuring Senator McGuire, which was really great. For those who attended, thank you so much for your support. We appreciate it. As we continue to broaden our legislative outreach, it was really great to have the chairman of the Senate Higher Education Committee present to start building that rapport and relationship with him, which was good. Also, Representative Phelps was also present. It was a really great conversation. So again, thank you. Also, thanks to those who volunteered for the voter registration drive. While we did not register a lot of individuals, it wasn't because of effort. We tried very, very hard, but we did get a chance to raise our visibility as GPSC, so that was great. In continuation of that, early voting has already started in Illinois. However, Jackson County is going to have early voting. The Student Center will be an early voting location starting next week. On the last week of early voting, which would be the 2nd, 3rd, and the 4th, we want to encourage students to vote. So what we're attempting to do is we want to set up an early voting table, do the right thing kind of type table, and we're working to reach out to Starbucks and McDonald's for them to give us certificates. So if people come to us with proof of voting, they would get a certificate as a way to encourage folks to participate in the process. Yes, ma'am.
Will the table for early voting downstairs be pretty much where we had the table set up, where the ladies were taking in the paper?
So we're gonna have to work on that. We haven't submitted a space request yet. It would be great if we could do it like right next to the early voting station, but I doubt it because there'll probably be some issues.
Beyond your
No, for
ID and,
for early voting or for what we're trying to do.
Yeah, really well.
sorry, yeah, you're saying early voting starts next week, and then we're gonna have something downstairs.
Right. So your proof of voting, we wanted to generally, if you go to a voting place, they give you like the I voted sticker, and that would have been the proof of voting.
I just mean actually to come
To
through.
actually
Like
vote.
I just changed my
Oh,
address
to
from
vote.
California to here. Do I need to bring the green piece of paper from switching my stuff over, or do I wait for something that comes in the mail to then come through, or like?
It'd be easier if you had the actual voter registration card.
Okay.
Do you know whether or not that will do?
So the green slip, if you don't, you should get a voter registration card in the mail. If you don't, that's your receipt to say that I am registered.
Okay.
And with that green receipt, you will be able to vote.
Okay.
You don't need your ID. At least.
Bring it with
Okay.
you. Just
Can't
hurt.
hurt.
Yeah, we don't want any confusion. So what I'm going to do later this week is I'll send out an email. Folks can tell me what times they're available. I'll have all that information, and you guys can let me know when you're available to work the table. We'll probably do the same thing what we did for the drive. Probably be like an 11 to 1 shift. So.
And those
Okay.
those of you that don't know, you can register online until the 23rd, but you can also register and vote the day of the election.
That's correct. We just still do have same day registration. Any questions?
You know how much-
Okay. Thank you.
So before we move on, actually, Willie, I wanted to thank you guys for bringing Senator McGuire down as part of his visit. He made some time to meet with the leaders of the 4 unions on campus, where we got to talk to him about higher ed issues, funding, the effects that this continued budget stalemate is having on
graduate students and the university in general, and he seemed extremely receptive to our situation. He also said that he did not realize that it was this bad down here, and having recognized that, he's going to take additional steps to try and get some movement, at least on higher education funding. So thank you guys for that.
Thank you, Willie.
I'm done.
Did you get you didn't get it, did you? County? Or the hometown? On the sign-in sheet, did you do the hometown?
Yes, on the sign sheet.
This one?
Okay. So in case you guys are wondering why there was a hometown tab on the sign-in sheet, right?
I would, right? I mean,
You weren't ready to?
yeah, we're not sure how that's going to work just yet.
Okay. Well, there was a reason for it. We talked about possibly getting a van and driving to local representative offices and talking to them. But just so you know, we're not trying to be creepy or anything, but there's a reason and purpose behind it. So,
More information to come.
yeah, it'll be to come. Right. So, in the following meetings, just for a point of information, on November 1st, our next meeting, we're going to have a photographer here taking photos. So we'd ask that if you want to have a headshot, I mean, there'll be a place for, I'm assuming, like either in the next room or in the hallway, to have a professional headshot done for free. And then we're hoping to get a nice pic of the entire group and not just the three of us, so we can actually put on the website. And so please come dressed accordingly. We'll verify a week before to ensure that we actually do have the photographer coming, so we don't make you dress up for no reason. And which I also believe will have the chancellor at this next meeting as well. To jump ahead, sorry. Committee reports for myself. The main one is one of the committees that I've been a part of was reformed this morning, is the Chancellor's Planning and Budget Advisory Committee. The past couple of years, it's been kind of for lack of better terms, crapshoot with like 30 people in the room just asking questions, the same questions over and over again. So the Chancellor, at the end of the summer, decided to reform and recharge the committee. And so now there's only 8 people in the room, each constituency group, 1 person from Dean's Council, 1 person from his cabinet, and Judy Marshall as a resource because she's the head budget officer. And we're actually going to be taking the academic and non-academic prioritization papers, creating a short-term goals and long-term goals that are going to have the short-term goals having really short deadlines within the next month, the long-term goals before the end of the year, contingent upon all the situations that we are likely to face budgetary-wise. And so which is why I asked if it's better to have something or nothing, because the Chancellor said we're free not to come up with any plans, but if we don't, he'll just act on his own volition, saying that, we had our opportunity to provide a plan. So it's one of those, it's going to be more extensive as it has been in the past. And so if any of you, as we go through, to the extent that I can, I'll be asking questions in the next couple meetings, and I'll really ask you to forward those questions on to your constituents and come back, or if you have answers yourself, give them to me so I have as much firepower as possible when talking in this committee, because he said he's willing, as long as it's not something over the top or crazy, he's going to take the recommendation of the advisory committee to as close to heart as he possibly can. He's going to take it very seriously. So in fact, everyone on the committee is going to get a 4-hour training with the budget officer next week, going through the budget of the last 2 years and how we've gotten exactly point. So it's getting really serious. So with that in mind, when I talk and ask for that committee particularly, when I ask for feedback, please just keep that in mind, that I'm asking for in terms of providing a plan for what we'll look like in our budget in the next year or 2 years possibly. Other committees and reports.
I've got some.
I got
I got one too.
Got one?
Yeah.
First, I want to start off with introducing the new co-chair for our It's On Us standing committee. I don't know if you have a chance to meet with her yet, or no, not you. Yes.
No,
Okay.
not yet.
You want to introduce yourself to so everyone else knows?
My name is Shelly. I am a first year grad in the middle school swimming community, or department, sorry. I'm originally from New England, but last 12 years I
Strong
lived in
person.
Oakland, California.
I don't know if I may have just missed. Anyways,
I'm sorry.
You're sorry? Well,
Yeah.
I thought California was screwed up, but dang it, here I did. Came to Illinois, so might as well,
I was actually trying to.
Well, that too. Oakland's rough, and it's kind of ridiculous, but here to try and help, try to be
Yeah.
part of things, so.
she's John, have you had a athletic advisory committee meeting yet?
Next week.
Next week? Parking?
Yeah, so I've got the African American Advisory Committee met yesterday. We are currently reorganizing. This was the first meeting that we've had since 2015, the March of 2015. But I think we're in a pretty good place. I like the direction thus far. Diversity Council, Donald and I serve on that. We had two items. Donald and I fought very hard for the council to adopt the need for a student co-chair, which it currently does not have. Because of our advocacy, we won 12. It was a 12-3 vote. At our next meeting, we're going to discuss the definition of diversity and inclusion before we move forward with the with working on the diversity plan. So if you have any suggestions for what that definition should be, please email me or Donald by I think our next meeting is on November the 7th. So if you have anything that you would like to have included in that conversation, please send that my way, or Donald. Traffic Appeals Board, no report. Our first meeting is next month.
Well, you went to the mass transit. Was there anything of substance?
No.
Okay. Go ahead.
Non-academic program prioritization committee has postponed its meeting for tomorrow till the 26th of October in order to provide enough time for the committee to complete its assignments and then begin the process of generating a report. We should have an actual report, which is awesome, by the meeting following that. So probably our next meeting in November, we should actually have a full-blown report for the various constituencies that we report to. I'd like to add that the Non-Academic Program Prioritization Committee has done an incredibly thorough job of looking at all of the possible places for budgetary reductions, mergers, et cetera, and has done its due diligence by bringing in and soliciting presentations from all affected units under our mandate, and that's everything that is not generally in academic affairs. So that was a lot of people, and from all of those reports and all of those programs, we are coming up with a list of suggestions to save the university money. One of the suggestions that I can actually talk about will save somewhere to the tune of $2.4 to $4 million, just without losing any personnel. So I can say that committee has actually done its job and done it very well, unlike a certain other committee. But that report should be coming out within the next 3 or so weeks, and this report will not be voted on by graduate council. It will go straight to your committee.
Yes, it will.
Due to the sensitive nature of some of the things in it. But there you go.
Yeah, you said both those reports will go straight to my committee for making the budgetary plans and whatnot. The Computer Advisory Committee, a couple things came up that you may or may not want to know about. All the spam emails that we've been getting recently. It gave an explanation of what is happening is that a couple students were first spammed with a non-siu.edu address, and with that they got their information, and so it kind of created just like a waterfall effect, because as you may or may not notice, a lot of the spam information that you're getting is from actual students because their accounts themselves have been hacked. And so if you get one of those, forward the email to scam@siu.edu, I think is what it is, or scam at SIU. Yeah, help desk thing. Yeah, don't click on any of the links. Never click on a link. Hopefully, they're going to do educational workshops on cybersecurity here at the end of the semester, and also create a way, like a one single line way of how, if the help desk actually needed to contact you, it would not include email at all with hyperlinks, so that there's no confusion.
There is a spam going around that is similar to a cyber security thing, so
Yeah.
be careful of that one. A friend of mine clicked on that, and so
Yeah.
just be
My
careful.
recommendation to you is, if you get anything in your email talking about any technology as a response to the university, forward it and then delete it and empty your trash bin,
No, I didn't get
because
it.
you can go through your SLUKINet or your SIU online account. You should be able to access those features from there on a secure portal. You don't need to do it in your email. Also, was talked about is there's a plan coming out from the chancellor about printing prioritization, which I know John knows about. But the chancellor is basically going off on a way of condensing, if you may or may not have seen, all the printers, and slowly phasing out every single independent printer until all we have is these big monsters in like strategic places. So there's that. So if you did manage to hide a printer and were able to use it, that was the university, it probably won't be there much longer, unless you can absolutely like full length explain why you need it.
Are you talking about like in departments?
Everywhere, yeah. Department wide, yeah. So if there's a department like the computers we have here, they're not happy about it, but we have enough flow to, like, we print enough off of it and have a very lengthy reason why they shouldn't get rid of it, things of that nature. But
Are
like,
they moving towards like everyone paying? Is that what
just no, on department wide, just everything has like a passcode. So if you want to print something, you have to enter your passcode and all be tracked. The idea is that if you have to walk 50 yards from your desk or your office and put in a code, you're less likely to print something.
That was literally the explanation given
Yes.
in the non-academic program prioritization committee.
Yeah, and on the computer advisory committee.
I'm not kidding.
Yes.
this is important because
Saves money.
It's supposedly saves $300,000 a year is what they projected.
Yeah, because you no longer have to buy print for a wide variety, or ink cartridges for a wide variety of printers. You no longer have to buy both laser and inkjet cartridges, and all of that stuff will be phased into the existing Staples contract, which provide those giant multifunction copier printers. The alternative to this would have been the installation of a printing tracking software on every machine across campus to determine flow on individual printers and departments, so that they can determine which printers had the most volume and could therefore eliminate them, which would have been tedious, and we don't actually have the information technology staff to do that. So, no.
Were you done?
I had one more comment first. Another comment. So I don't know how many people saw the printout of the chancellor's, not the president's, but the chancellor's State of the University address, where he mentioned that we need to start focusing on getting graduate students here without assistantships and things of that nature. That's his. I mean, more or less his new game plan is that we should want graduate students to pay to be here, so on and so forth.
Okay.
That's going to be a bell he's going to be, I know, consistently ringing. So if anybody wants to write a response to that and provide it with me, so that way I have some personal stories as to why you may or may not disagree with that notion. Go ahead. Please email them to me or come see me after the meeting.
Is
When
that
would you want this by?
Is whenever, it's going to be sooner the better, but it's going to be an ongoing issue, especially on the budget committee, planning, and just in general constituency heads meeting.
would you think that graduate students would choose to come here without a graduate assistantship rather than going to a different university that offers it?
That was my question is, universities that are similarly situated to us, do they not offer, like, is that how they generally get grad students, by not offering graduate assistantships?
Do you want me to take this, Brandon? No.
Because I'm assuming the schools that do not offer that.
Let me rephrase.
it's
So that
probably
was
getting people based on their
my
name.
question is more rhetorical. I think everyone would agree that that's going to be hard fraught. And so the more backup I have and the more data, it was just, basically if you could give that to me.
Let me.
I just don't,
I'm sorry.
that doesn't make sense.
Hold on a second. To provide Brandon some assistance, the focus on getting fees-paying graduate assistants is to increase the amount of revenue that the university has so that it can presumably provide more academic support services in the form of more faculty. The assumption that the chancellor is working under is if you can get more graduate students who pay fees, you can then send some of that money to faculty recruitment and grow those programs, and then therefore get more graduate students into those programs. I don't presume to understand the logic, and a lot of this is targeted at high demand programs. Those programs that have consistently high graduate student enrollment are the programs that he's looking for more fees paying students out of. While he has expressed that he wants this across the board, it's less important for him to get 5 students in a small department to pay fees than it is for him to get 25 students in a larger department. So this is targeted at high demand programs and programs that have demonstrable recruitment.
And
I'm sorry, when you say fees, are you talking about tuition or
tuition.
fees?
No, tuition.
Okay.
Yeah,
Everyone pays fees.
'Cause
they're using it as a catch-all. It's really bad language. They're using it as a catch-all. So
Okay.
tuition paying students.
Did he give a detail of, no,
Yeah.
no,
Just a general stance of where they want to be moving towards is what we hear.
so no competitive, he didn't, wait, what?
No. So.
Dean Lee doesn't even know.
He could be the administrator.
I'm like, so I know, I'm really trying to all right, competitive, so
This is how.
So,
University of Texas.
so to hear Dean Lee say it, the only school institutions that work on that model are institutions that are
the survey?
maybe half the size of ours. So none of our aspirational peers operate under this model.
Okay. All right. Is there any? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I wanted to thank Donald's organization. I want to make sure I get the right name right.
Graduate Degree Council.
Yes, they were partners with us in the voter registration drive and were indispensable. Would not have been able to do it without them. So I want to thank them for that.
As many of you know, our goals for the year, we've talked a lot about them today, about diversity and student affairs, and the budget with student fees. The administration has told me, both the chancellor and the vice chancellor, that the reason they haven't given us the report that I said was existed is because they're reformulating that report to be updated to this year, and then I'll have it, I've been told, before the end of the semester. But along with that, though, goes the activity fee survey, which Willie just said should be available to everyone by next meeting. I'm going to impress upon you the importance of getting that when we get that survey, to send it out and getting as many responses as is humanly possible, so that way we can have valid data, like a percentage of our graduate and student body, showing why or why not we want more money to do for events and travel funding instead of other things that it's being used for, like rock concerts and comedians and stuff like that. So, which I don't know, because we're a small group here, so sometimes we just need as much viable representation on that as possible. So I'll import upon you. And we're working on a listserv for the entire student body, which may or may not be in existence soon. So we'll actually, the goal is to send it out through that, so we can actually get an email, have the electronic survey sent out to every student. But it'll still, with that, as you know, most people just delete those type of emails, so it'll be on us to make sure that they actually get responded to in a quick amount of time. Because we have to report, the Board of Trustees is going to take recommendations for fee increases and free shifts and all that stuff in their December meeting. So we need to, which is sooner than it's ever been in history. My guess is because it's to prevent from a situation like this coming to fruition fast enough. So we just need to be on the ball with that.
Are there a certain number of questions there?
I think it'll be short. It'll be like 10 questions.
Maybe shorter.
Maybe shorter, yeah. This is a general of, do you know what you had this fee, or do you agree with it being spent on this? Would you rather it being spent on something like this, or, to that effect? The FAB is creating and going to be disseminating that as they're in charge of all the funding, and it's a funded related issue.
Is there any way you could work with D2L, like Jackie Dunn over there, and work with D2L to get it out there, because that might be more.
If we don't get an initial response, like with the emails, then yes, Willie and I are both on a committee with him, so it's pretty. I'm on 2 committees with him, so it's easy to get access to him. So, all right. With that, I'll leave it to roundtable discussion announcements.
I'm going to go ahead and send this PDF over to Jonathan Flowers. He said he would help send it off to you guys, but the blacksmithing department, metals blacksmithing department does have an awesome guy, Jake James, coming to visit us, not this weekend, but next weekend. We have I know this doesn't quite have to do with this, but you guys are all welcome. This is open to students and everything else. There's gallery reception and an artist lecture in the University Museum on the 28th, and then there's also a public demonstration on the 29th. So you guys see something kind of like this card, it's for us, and Pulliam is just off of Evergreen. But if you guys don't know where Pulliam and the Industrial Wing and some of us fine artsy people are, please come over and hang out. Take a look at what we're doing.
That, just so you know, that's exactly what that's for. That fits perfect. So please, if anyone has an announcement or something that's worthwhile for the rest of us at this time, like usually it's happy hour for JU is what gets announced. Yeah, you can get okay, sure. So anything like that you want, feedback or help or get the word out there, please do so. Don't be shy.
So GAU is having a happy hour / debate watching thing tomorrow at Bandana's Barbecue at 8 p.m. Come out, have a free beer on us, maybe eat some food, maybe watch the debate. I don't know about that, but that's again tomorrow 8 p.m. So.
Well, we'll all be there because the Black Graduate Council and Gamma Kappa Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha will also be doing a debate watch party. So it'll be a big party.
Sweet.
Is food free?
Is the food?
You guys have free food?
Oh no.
Oh.
You guys don't have free food either?
No.
It's just free beer.
Yes.
We have great conversations.
Yeah. We have one right here.
What does JAU stand for?
Graduate Assistants United.
Oh,
Right.
G.
And John knows about this, and I'm trying to get the word out as much as I can. My partner and I are starting a newsletter-ish, paper newsletter, called Black, Brown, Queer Reflections Monthly. It's a newsletter paper by students, for students. It's run by us out of my laptop. So nothing that you write will be paid, unfortunately, nobody funding. But I'm sure a lot of you will be great writers, so leave any stories about anything that you want other students to hear. You can send them to me or my fiance. I would love it, because I'm in hard sciences, so I write mostly about rocks and fossils, not about anything really on campus. And she's really interested in stories featuring minority students living at a proud white institution. But if any other stories, anything at all, that you think students want to hear, I'd love to read them and get them published out there. We're trying to get something planned in October, but we're really busy, so it might not happen, but we're trying.
Is this like an online publication or anything?
It's online right now, because we don't have funding, because.
All right. And one last call. Sorry for that. I should have done it before. We still have a couple open committees. So if you know anyone who wants to volunteer or have something to put on their resume, we still have 1 or 2 open ones that, despite what it looks like. You know, while we don't mind doing 6 committees each because it's our duty. Yeah, you know, a couple less wouldn't hurt. So.
What are the committees that are open?
For instance, right now, mass transit is open. We have an equips committee that we're planning committee, a big event planning committee for next year. What's going on? I would student service advisory board committee. I would student center advisory board committee. I would probably I'm on it. But if someone was really who like works in this building and knows a lot about what's going on, wanted to be on that would be great too. Things of that nature. And with always, I had a student email the other, just email me and say, you know, I heard this, or you know, is there any committee that's open, and I'll respond as quickly as I humanly can. So with that, I can get a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second. All in favor? Thank you, everyone. As always, appreciate your time.